Next would be, are they a retro gamer or a modern gamer or a little bit of both? And if they're a bit of both, you actually have a very broad range in terms of what gifts you can get. Retro gamers prefer older games. For me, retro games that I like are things like Zelda here. That was a game from my childhood. This is actually my copy from when I was a kid. Unfortunately, and as much as I don't like to admit it, stuff like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era games are now at this point becoming retro. I would say PlayStation 3 is probably getting there. So, fortunately for you as a gift giver, that means there is a big, broad range of games you can get. So, what are some tips for buying retro games versus modern? By the way, modern would be anything that's been released on current generation systems. So, just as an aside, those will be the ones that you can go to Walmart and just buy straight off the shelf. Retro games are the ones where you're going to have to go to a specialty shop. Like GameStop would be the easiest one to find, but this is really where more mom and pop shops are going to come in handy. So living in a bigger area is going to benefit you, or being cunning in how to use eBay and a few other online auction sites. But what do you look for with a retro game? So the first thing is the actual source of the media intact? And for stuff like these guys back here, for cartridges, it's not as bad as doing things that are on disc, because in more recent generations, discs have really more been CD keys that have unlocked a game, and I'm not sure how much value there is in buying them. But when you go back far enough, the whole game is actually on either the disc or the cartridge. And this would be an example of one where all the games are actually on the disc. So, original PlayStation titles, things like Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, and actually most of Nintendo's consoles, your stuff will be on cartridges, with the exception being Wii, Wii U, and GameCube. But even with those games, you'd be okay because Nintendo actually, up until very recently, had the games on the cartridge. But what are you normally looking for when you're buying a retro game? You want the actual cartridge or the disc. You want the box. And if it's an old enough game to still have it, the booklet or any other extra materials that came with it. The more of those things you get, the higher the price is going to be. Like finding an actual cartridge for the very first Final Fantasy game that came out is not that terrible as far as retro game purchases go. But finding one where you have the cartridge, the box, and the map and booklets that came with it, and suddenly it becomes a very pricey game where you can get into the hundreds of dollars. Or in some games, you can get up to thousands of dollars thanks to the grading companies. If you played any sort of card game, you can actually send off retro games now in